All right, so here we go. As by the thumbnail, I'm going to be talking about a subject that is so divisive, so polarizing, so, I don't know, I guess nice nasty. I'm going to be talking about Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse. I have these three figures out here. Uh, Adam, Riddler, not the Diddler, and Nightwing. And the reason why I have these three figures out is because they share the same buck. So I only really got to articulate one of them to illustrate a point. But the main point being is that this is going to happen. This here, it's going to happen. You're going to get reuse. Now, whether or not that reuse is good, questionable, or just downright bad, that's honestly dependent on the person. I think if you look at this figure here, right? As you can see, it's a silhouette, right? Like, it's the superhero silhouette. It's the typical body that you would see in a comic book. I don't know how else you want them to make, this character. Same thing going on over here with Nightwing. Nightwing is, the protege to Batman. He is, as Batman would put it, the better Batman. He's... The thing about this figure is, I know I've seen reviews and they've just, torn it to shreds. But the reality is that I kind of feel like, let's see if I can get him to stand. He doesn't want to cooperate now. Whatever. Fall down. Yeah, that's one problem with Mcfarlane. It's not that you can't stand the figures up, because obviously figures do it. It's that you got to find that sweet spot. But anyway, figures like this, this is comic accurate if you know the story in which, the Riddler got, super strength or whatever. So that, explains this use of this buck for this guy. But any other time, you would want him to be, slender, skinny. But my point with this is that one of the main complaints that you always hear about Mcfarlane Toys is that the quality is bad, the articulation is non-existent, and they look like they're all wearing diapers. Superman and Batman have been wearing underwear over pants for so long, and nobody had a problem with that. I know. You're like, what does that have to do with anything? Yeah, that's kind of my point with this. I think if this looks like a diaper to you, I question how many diapers you've changed in life, because it just looks like an overlay to me, because that's exactly what it is. Now, to each their own. Either you're going to like it or you're going to dislike it. Some people like the action figure look of, say, a Marvel Legends. Gonna bring out Cap. Y'all know he's coming. Yeah, some people like that. I don't actually. I actually think this is strange looking. I don't know what man you've ever seen have a gap like this, But, hey, it's all about preferences, right? So I'm going to go through this articulation scheme. If you've seen the reviews, then you know this body. But that's not the point of this. I'm doing this because, for some reason, Mcfarlane figures can't articulate. So, here you go. So, arms forward, of course. It's about as far as it's going to go. Arms up. You can actually rotate that and make them in the A pose. If you want to do a YMCA type of deal. Wait, is it MC? Okay, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Anyway, arms, you know, pretty much touching his shoulder. You got ball joint here. You know, it gives you good, good range, good back, forward. Legs go up. Leg bend. Ankle. Back. Tilt. Toe. I don't understand why, after I don't know how many releases of Mcfarlane toys, do I still hear people saying the same things. How far back it goes. Now, if you want to complain about an ab crunch, I have nothing to say about that. This is actually not good. This is one of the things about Mcfarlane's figures that I would complain about. However, if you know how to pose figures and not just put them vanilla, because let's be honest, some people, they just do vanilla. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Wow, he poses. He's not static. I don't know why we only talk about Mcfarlane toys as if all they can do is be statues. You know, this isn't a defense video. It's just more of a, I feel like there's a disturbance in the force when you're talking about Mcfarlane, you know, in any other domestic action figure. And even though, you know, people typically like this, let me take your shield off. They tend to favor this, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong for favoring this. I just don't, there's nothing this can do that figure can't do other than that. And even then, are we really going to sit here and act like that's an amazing ab crunch? You know, it's not that far. So, and there's back. So, you know, we go through the articulation scheme of a Marvel Legend. You know, you got your butterfly. You got, you know, rotation here. But you can't drop it down or move it, you know, like you can with the Mcfarlane. You know, waist swivel, arm. You got, oh, I said waist swivel. I meant bicep swivel up there. Waist swivel here. You know, and that's it. As far as that's concerned, you got a ab crunch and a waist swivel. Leg kicks up. Bend it. And you got ankle, that, twist, no toe. So, I didn't talk about the wrist articulation on the Mcfarlane. You know, I'll show that in a second. But my point is that there's really nothing this Marvel Legend could do that Mcfarlane figure cannot do. So I do not understand why we're always saying that Mcfarlane figures can't pose. They're just statues. I honestly don't understand that. Now, the next thing is Mcfarlane only makes Batman. I just showed you 3 characters that weren't Batman. I can show you Superman. You got Superman here. Get him to stand. Look at that. Another Superman. I want to say Earth 2. There you go. Voila. 3 different Superman. Not the same. Not the same buck. Not the same anything. It's all different. It's all its own. It's another thing that Mcfarlane does well. He sculpts new parts, makes new bucks. You know, you're going to get 200 characters on this same body buck. And, you know, I wish I was joking. I wish I felt like I was just throwing a number that is unrealistic, but we all know that that's what's going to happen. Again, I'm not going to go through every figure's articulation, but my point is that there's a standard. Standard articulation is going to be there on every figure, just about. You know, there's exceptions, you know, larger figures. Both Mcfarlane and Hasbro do this. They both do, when they do larger characters, they tend to simplify some of the articulation schemes. I'm going to display that with Cyborg here. So, Cyborg, you know, pretty big. He was a Build-A-Figure for the Flashpoint wave. And just to give you an idea of how much bigger, that's how big he is to the already large Mcfarlane figures. You know, when we're talking about 7-inch scale, and when you're doing 7-inch scale and you got a larger character, that means you got to do something bigger than 7-inch. So this guy's probably sitting about 8 or 9 inches tall. Simplified, you know, articulation, single joint. This is double jointed on here, but single jointed knees, you know, that. Let's see, we got ratchet joint in the ankle, pivot. But the point being is that even still, there's some kind of standard. You know, some kind of standard amount of articulation. I don't understand why we say that they can't pose when I swear you can prove that time and time again that they can. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is variety. So, getting stuff like this, and this only being, you know, $40, that's pretty cool. I mean, for the price, and I mean, look at it. For the price you're paying, you're getting something, again, it's not just a same, you know, Thanos mode or same, you know, the Odin or whatever, which I don't think the Odin's a bad figure. I'm not picking on it, but it was costly, you know, and I don't understand why Hasbro feels that they have to do that. So, is this turning into a Mcfarlane versus Hasbro deal? Kinda. Only because those are the two brands that oftentimes get compared because they have two of the biggest licenses. So, and I don't have the other figures to show. I've been, actually, I'm going to leave this guy out because I want to talk about something about that guy. But I don't have many Marvel Legends anymore. I've sold a great bunch of them. I always say, if something's not making you happy, get rid of it. This figure here is the platinum version of the Batman Superman fusion. But what I like about it is, look at that. It's not just, you know, like there's thought into that. Like, to get that kind of gradient going, like he put some thought into that, or whoever designed the figure, because it's, you know, there's a team. It's not just Todd McFarlane. This is stuff that I like. You know, I like variety. I like things to be different. I don't like everything to be uniform. Another example of this kind of variety is, look at this. That is awesome. That is a green army man. I mean, that's the platinum, of course, with this being the regular figure. If I can get him to stand. I don't have him on the stand like I have this one. But let's see. You gonna stand up for me or you gonna keep falling? Let's see. There we go. Right. You know, that's cool. It's not something you have to have, but it's cool that that's even an option. The next thing that I would say about Mcfarlane toys is, still on variety, of course, stuff like this. Let me see. Like, sucks. I can't even get them all the way into the camera. But for those of you that know, you have the gunslinger spawn on the horse. And these two things came together. Getting this to stand up is a pain. But once you do, he stands there. I've had him on the shelf sitting this way. Let me see if I can pan up a little bit. There you go. I had this sitting on the shelf for months. Never fell. So I don't really understand why, again, Mcfarlane catches so much hate when he's giving you so much variety. There's so many different things that you can collect within his toy line that makes, honestly, a lot of the other domestic toy lines look a little shameful, you know. I think that set was, what? I think it was like $40, $50, one of those. Talk about Batman for a second, since, you know, Toddy Mac is the king of bats. These 3 Batman figures are all on the same buck. All 3 of them. They all have their, you know, these 2, they have not only paint differences and obviously plastic aesthetic differences, but same buck, but completely different. For example, this one has a hard shape. Wow. Cape. There you go. And this one even has the bullseye on the cape on the back. Again, soft goods, wired capes. You're not really seeing stuff like that from many companies. This Batman, same buck, few scope differences, you know, different arm, different head, of course, but same buck. Soft goods cape, wired. I'm not here to say that Mcfarlane Toys is perfect, because by no means is it. There's things about Mcfarlane Toys that absolutely sucks. You know, for example, the frequency in which things are released. Unless you're just sitting on it, there's no way to keep up. You know, you're going to have to cherry pick. That's the best advice I could honestly give anybody looking to collect Mcfarlane Toys. Spawn, you know, I like me some Spawn. I have so many different little Spawns. They're all different, and they all do different things. You know, Mcfarlane's even getting into anime figures. You know, here's Ichigo from Bleach. Ichigo from Bleach. Full soft goods, up and down. Fully articulated figure in here. Variety. You know, you're getting different things even from different lines. You know, we haven't gotten a full suited nothing from Mcfarlane on the DC Multiverse line. I'd be curious to see if we ever do, but not being scared to try new things. I feel like that's something that you can say about Mcfarlane toys. Hate it or love it. Hate it or love it, because it ain't always great. Sometimes it sucks. I'm not going to sit here and act like it never sucks, because it does. But that's really all I wanted to say. I'll show a couple of more little toys here. You know, here's Adam West Batman. Cape is way too long. You know, that's, again, Mcfarlane has his issues too. You know, sometimes you have figures that have aesthetic issues. You have figures that have strange issues. Some figures can't stand. You know, but look at that. If I can get him. You gonna stay? You gonna stay stand? Okay, thank you. Again, same figure, repaint, but different aesthetic. And that's what I want in a collection. That's what I want when I'm shopping and I'm looking for something that, even if it's the same, it still looks or feels different, not just more of the same. And more importantly, I'm always looking for, you know, that progression. You know, I want to see the line progress, not regress. I don't want to see less articulation. I don't want to see less paint apps. I don't, you know, and don't put it under the guise of, oh, we're making it better, because you're not. You're taking away to make it cheaper on you while also charging more, you know. And you're seeing this across many lines, you know, and I'm going to talk about that very soon. That's really all I had to say. I know this came off as like maybe more of a rant, but I just don't understand the hate. For some people, it's way too personal than it needs to be. For some people, that it's way too emotional than it should be. They're just toys. It's either you like it or you don't. It's either you're going to collect it or you're not. I don't see the point of every time he releases something, you see people in the comment section saying some of the most ridiculous things, questions that is so Googleable. That's not even a word. There's a new word for you, Googleable. Like, it's just silly. I wish that people would just collect the things they want to collect and don't collect what you don't want. Oh, Mcfarlane, he ruined DC. How? Because he did something different? Is that what we're going to start condemning people for? Is daring to be different? You know, everybody has to be the same. Well, it should be 6 inch so he can go with my Marvel Legends. He doesn't care about Marvel. Hell, I don't care about it. Nobody, no company has to adhere to anything that one other company is doing. You know, it's like when you hear people say 6 inch scale and 112, and you hear them confuse the two. Oh, it's 112 scale. No, that's 6 inch scale. 112 scale is more like SH Figure Arts. That's 112 scale. You know, people don't really understand scaling. They just know that they want it to fit with a certain thing. And it's unfortunate that Mcfarlane chose to go 7 inch because maybe it doesn't fit within your 6 inch world. But maybe try coming over to the 7 inch world. You know, maybe you find out it's not so bad. You know, you can have both. You don't have to stick to one. You can do many things. You can wear many hats. It's not, you know, you can buy Mcfarlane. You can buy Amazing Yamaguchi. You know, there's options out there. You don't have to, you know, curse the man out because he chose to go a different route. You know, maybe you're into Gundams. You know, maybe you like that. You know, there's so many different avenues and ways that you can go about collecting. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to stay to one thing. Maybe you like cars. You like cars? What's that? It's Auto World. In my opinion, they're better than Hot Wheels. I'm sure Hot Wheels people would chew me alive for that, but I said what I said. You know, there's so many options. You don't have to adhere to one thing. If you love this, if this is what you love, buy it, collect it, keep it off the racks. Make sure it stays healthy so that you get more of this. You get more. If you're sitting around waiting for it to go on clearance, I hate to say this, but yeah, it saves you a few bucks, but it doesn't report good when they're looking at what sold and what didn't. So my point is, buy what you like. You know, there's nothing wrong with this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this Marvel Legends other than my preferences, other than things that I think they could do better. But that's just me. You may love it, and that's great. I'm happy you do. Buy it. It's for you. But for me, I like what's going on here. I like this. I like 7-inch scale. 7-inch scale is great to me. But guess what? I also like 1/18 scale. Because Mcfarlane ain't got nothing on this. This is 1/18 scale. And Mcfarlane ain't touching this. I could just sit that right there and let it do all the talking. Joy Toy, you've made a fan out of me. And I'm going to be talking about these soon. The amount of engineering on these figures is crazy. These are really good. Really good. So that's it. That's all I had to say. You know, a little bit of a longer video. You know, I figure if need be, you could turn this on and just, you know, do something else while you're listening to old Collector Corral review rant on about some Mcfarlane, because he's a Mcfarlane lover. But that's it. You know, collect what you like. Don't buy what you don't like.